With the final shape, Well of Radiance finally got nerfed to the ground. This allows warlocks to experiment and try out different subclasses, abilities, and even supers. And let me tell you, the build we're looking at today is one of the most well-rounded builds to dominate any encounter that you face. This build has immaculate ability regeneration, immense survivability, and even helps you and your team in boss phases. This build has quickly become one of my favorite builds. So rally your fellow guardians, prepare your arsenal, and get ready to cause chaos on the battlefield. Remember to leave a like if you find this video helpful, and if you like seeing build videos and other Destiny 2 helpful content, consider hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump right on into it. This build is all about one thing: getting and using your super as much as possible. With the new super, Song of Flame, you gain numerous benefits while your super is active, including 90% damage resistance for you and 30% damage resistance for your allies, Radiant for you and your allies. Nearby allies will also gain additional ability recharge rate, kinetic and solar weapons will scorch targets, and a new grenade and melee ability that deal pretty good damage. So you're basically like a moving Well of Radiance, except instead of healing, you have improved abilities. The 90% damage resistance for you and 30% for your allies is really immaculate for any hard content, especially since you can move around with it. Since we are so strong in our super and almost unkillable, I'm aiming to get back my super as quick as possible so I can continuously spam Song of Flame whenever I get it. So the exotic of choice is Mantle of Battle Harmony. Now, kills with solar weapons give 1.5 to 4.5% back to your super. Since this doesn't have a cooldown, the only thing limiting you on how quickly you get your super back is you. Ideally, you'd be aiming for a class exotic with spirits of Apotheosis and Harmony. That way you can get the benefit from killing with your solar weapons, and now when Song of Flame ends, you'll be able to spam your grenades and melees for some extra damage and immediate super energy. So let's dive into the build and break down how it works. First up for our super, we are taking Song of Flame. While this super isn't necessarily the best for boss DPS, it does provide a benefit to you and your fire team in all scenarios. So this super can be used anywhere in the game. For our class ability, I'm taking Phoenix Dive because it has the shortest cooldown and provides the most immediate healing. We want to use our class ability often for more super energy, so this is the clear choice. For the melee, I'm taking Arcane Needle. I went back and forth on the melee, but I landed on Arcane Needle. While it might not be the strongest, it provides the most amount of benefit, which I'll touch on in a minute. Plus, it has 3 charges. As for the grenade, I'm taking Storm Grenade. I initially opted for Vortex Grenade for the weaken effect, but since it's a damage over time grenade, that means that it can't stack, meaning it wouldn't be good for Apotheosis. Plus, with the artifact mod, we can bring the Storm Grenade to deal decent damage and go amplified, which will be important later. When it comes to the aspect, the first one I'm taking is Feed the Void. This is the clear best option. When you defeat an enemy with an ability, you gain an enhanced version of Devour. This Devour provides a ton of grenade energy and basically fully heals you on any kill. The second aspect that I opted for was Helion. Now, when you use your class ability, you gain a solar buddy at your side that lobs mortars at a target. This solar buddy actually does a surprising amount of damage. With Ember of Ashes, it puts out 280k in one damage phase. Granted, we won't have Ember of Ashes, and most of that damage is ignition damage, so you'd miss out on roughly 2 ignitions, which is about 60k damage, meaning that on this build, you can expect to put out an extra 220,000 per damage phase just by activating your solar buddy. Huge shout out to Llama for letting me use his footage. He does a lot of damage testing, so if that's something you're interested in, link to his channel in the description. As for the fragments, the first one I'm taking is Facet of Hope, so that now we get 60% increased class ability regeneration while we have a buff. We basically always have Devour active, so this means more solar buddies and more super energy. The second one I'm taking is Facet of Courage, which gives us 10% increased damage to our light abilities whenever we damage an enemy that has a darkness debuff. Remember, your melee unravels targets and you have 3 charges, so any tougher targets that you see, make sure to use a melee first. All of your other abilities are light based, so you'll just deal more damage with them. And after that, I'm taking Facet of Purpose, where based on your super, when you pick up an Orb of Power, you'll get an elemental buff. Since we're on a solar super, that means restoration for 5 seconds. We will have ways to increase our damage resistance, and since we aim to make as many orbs as possible, we should have restoration active fairly often. For our fourth fragment, I'm taking Facet of Protection. Now, when you're surrounded, you take 15% less damage, and that stacks with all of our other damage resistance, which we'll touch on later. The last one I'm taking is Facet of Dawn, so that a powered melee hit grants you Radiant, and powered melee kills grants nearby allies Radiant. We do have ways to gain Radiant from the artifact, but I like to have a guaranteed way melee to proc it, in case I can't make an orb on the spot. If you want, you could swap this one out for Facet of Balance to gain more melee energy on light-based rapid kills, and grenade energy on dark-based rapid kills. So the gameplay loop goes like this. Throw a grenade at a group of enemies to proc both Devour and become amplified. We use a melee on any target that isn't unraveled to start spreading the darkness debuff. Then start killing with your solar weapons to rapidly gain super energy. In the meantime, with every kill, you gain grenade energy from Devour. So whenever you get that grenade back, just throw another one. These grenades give you back a ton of ability energy. So make sure to use Phoenix Dive often so you can keep that solar buddy up and active. Whenever you have a boss or mini boss, or there's just a large wave of enemies, pop that super to shred through them all and staying basically unkillable. If you don't have your super available, pop your Transcendence to deal more damage and amp up your survivability. With Transcendence giving you 20% damage reduction, Surrounded giving you 15%, and being amplified giving you 30%, you'll be taking 52% less damage, and that doesn't even account for your resistance mods on your chest. Speaking of mods, let's talk about ways to improve the build. First up for the stats, I am going for 100 resilience. With the extra damage resistance, we can use this build to survive a ton of endgame activities. And after that, I like to shoot for 100 discipline. Yes, Devour gives us a ton of grenade energy, but I just love spamming grenades, so I'm going for the shortest cooldown possible. After that, I'm aiming for about 70 intellect. Any more than that is kind of just diminishing returns. If you want more of a survival build, I'd aim for more recovery instead of that 100 discipline. As for the helmet mods, the first one I'm taking is Harmonic Siphon. We want to use our solar weapons a ton to get back our super, so now this means we'll be generating more orbs on rapid kills. And I'm also pairing that with Ashes to Assets. With Devour giving us so much grenade energy, we can now use those grenades to feed back into our super, which is also why I'm taking Dynamo. Since we can take so much damage and be up close and personal, we can use Dynamo so that when we use our Phoenix Dive near enemies, we gain an extra 5% super energy. As for the Gauntlet mods, the first one I'm taking is Firepower, so that our grenades will now create orbs on kills. Again, since our Devour gives us so much grenade energy, we're going to be using those grenades to power up our other abilities, which is why I'm going to be taking Impact Induction and Bolstering Detonation, so that our grenade damage will give us 12% energy to both our melee and our class ability, but that does have a 7-second cooldown. When it comes to the chest, I'm choosing 3 resistance mods. I usually like to do 1 harmonic, 1 concussive, and 1 melee resistance. Ideally, you'd swap out the harmonic and concussive for whatever element that you'll be facing the most of. Like in this seasonal activity, we're facing a ton of void damage from the Vex and Tormentor, so I'd swap out for void resistance. As for the legs, I'm taking a solar weapon surge for an extra 10% damage to our solar weapons, Orbs of Restoration for 10% ability energy to our lowest ability, and recuperation for a bump in health on orb pickup. If you are just using Mantle of Battle Harmony and not the class item, then I'd swap out that solar surge for Absolution for extra 5% ability energy to all of our abilities. Since solar weapon kills while you have your super gives you solar weapon surge times 4 when you have Mantle of Battle Harmony. As for the class item, first up we're taking Bomber, so that we're getting 12% grenade energy whenever we use our class ability. Our grenades give us so much benefit that I want every way possible to get them back as quick as possible. And then I also take Distribution, so this now gives us 4% ability energy and 2% super energy whenever we Phoenix Dive near enemies. That does stack with Dynamo, meaning that we can Phoenix Dive near enemies to gain about 7% of our super back. And since those orbs are so useful to us, I'm also taking Powerful Attraction, so it'll be easier to pick up those nearby orbs whenever we do Phoenix Dive. When it comes to the artifact, there are 4 mods that I really like with this build. First, I like Radiant Orbs, so that picking up orbs will make you Radiant. It is a bit redundant, but since we can't extend that Radiant like we can on solar subclasses, this helps you keep up that Radiant. And second, I like Galvanic Armor, which gives you 30% damage reduction while you're amplified, and you go amplified by getting rapid arc kills, like all those kills you get from throwing your grenades. Third, I like Shield Crush. You'll only really proc half of this, which is 25% grenade recharge rate and 20% grenade damage while you're amplified or Radiant, which is pretty much all the time. And the last one I like is Transference. While Transcendent, you gain more melee and grenade energy. Plus, you gain Transcendent energy back based on how many weapon kills you get. I like to use Transcendent to help get my super back, so you can use that solar weapon to get a ton of super energy and refund about half of your Transcendence. Alright, taking a look at the weapons. First up for our kinetic slot, the Call is the best option in my opinion. It's a strand rocket assisted sidearm that deals a ton of damage, has good ammo economy, and can roll with perks like Strategist to help get back our class ability for even more super energy and solar buddies. For the energy slot, I really like the Red Death. Not only does it heal you on kills, making you basically unkillable, but it's also anti-barrier for this season. And since episode 1 is all about Vex, you can expect to be fighting a ton of Hydras. You could also take Sunshot since it's good at ad clearing, and that way you can really take advantage of the Spirit of Harmony. Otherwise, I might go for a legendary Solar Pulse if you want to use an exotic in my primary or heavy slot. And for that heavy slot, your abilities will carry you through most activities, so you have a ton of flexibility. I'm really enjoying the Pro Memoria Furia as a strand machine gun that gives us more super energy on kills from its intrinsic trait. But when Speleologist finally comes out, I'll definitely be giving that machine gun a go since it's also a solar weapon, i.e. more super energy. Between massive survivability, super and grenade spam, and even dealing a ton of boss DPS, this build has quickly become one of my favorite builds for Warlocks in the final shape. Remember, mastering these builds is only the beginning. Experiment with different combinations and tweak your loadouts to suit your playstyle, and never stop honing your skills. If you found this video helpful or just enjoyed seeing a new perspective, feel free to like the video and comment down below what you might change or how you'd improve the Singing Abilities build. Keep an eye out for future videos as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of Destiny 2. Until then, may the threads of fate be ever in your favor. This is Lucky Mech signing off. See you on the next adventure, Guardians.